Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk to you about bloating and 3 of the major factors that could be causing you to feel bloated. It's Jeff Chen here, bringing you all things Chinese medicine. If you haven't checked out my free content, you can check it out in the description below. In it I talk about the 6 root causes of all disease. Without any further ado, let's jump into today's content. So first off, what is bloating? Bloating is defined as pressure, pain, distension, or fullness somewhere in the abdomen. That can be right below the sternum, it can be below the rib cage, it can be right around the navel or below the navel. These all have different causes in Chinese medicine, and we're not going to cover all of them today, but we're going to cover 3 of the big reasons that could be causing bloating overall in the abdomen. In Chinese medicine, there's a few different causes for bloating, but without a doubt, the cause that I see most often in my patients, it is classified as a deficiency cold. Deficiency means there's not enough of something, and in this case there's not enough metabolic fire, there's not enough energy to process things in the digestive tract. And cold indicates a condition where things are slowing down, they're getting sluggish, they are constricting. So when you put the 2 terms together, things are slowing down because there's not enough fire or energy to process things. So it's a deficiency cold condition. And this is going to bring us to our first main reason for bloating. And I see this all the time in my patients, and I've learned to ask this as one of my first few questions when my patient reports bloating. And I ask them, do you consume iced or cold drinks on a daily basis? And the reason iced drinks are bad for your digestion is, imagine that your digestion, it's like a pot of boiling water. You need to keep that water at a certain temperature so that it's ready to cook food, it's ready to break down what you put into the pot. But if you keep putting in cold water, then it's gonna keep slowing down the digestion process. It's going to keep taking time to heat that water back up. And what's going to happen is it's going to require your body's own resources to get that fire burning again. And when you keep putting in the ice drinks day after day, what ends up happening inevitably is that it starts sapping your own life force. You're using your own life force to heat that fire back up. And if you tend to be a more deficient person, if you tend to be constitutionally a little bit weaker, you just don't have that excess life force to be tossing around like that. So, how do you know if you're one of the people that should be avoiding ice drinks? Number 1, do your hands and feet get cold easily? Are you sensitive to cold temperatures? Do you tend to be that person that will put on a jacket before everyone else? Or do you have to have that extra sweater at work? If so, that means you're probably on the cold side. That means there's not enough life force running through your body to heat the body up. And if that's the case, then it'll probably be similar for your digestive system. If you're one of those people, I would totally recommend you avoid the ice drinks at all costs. And this is going to bring us to our second big reason for bloating. And don't shoot the messenger, but this is another one that people really love, including myself, and that is dairy. In Chinese medicine, what happens when you consume too much dairy is that your body will start to slow down, it'll start to feel sluggish, it will build up congestion and stagnation in the digestive system. So if you're one of those people that you tend to feel kind of heavy, you feel slow after meals, maybe you feel bloating all the time right after you eat. Maybe you consume rich, heavy, greasy meals. You would definitely want to think about cutting out dairy. Um, when my patients with bloating come in, the ones that consume a lot of dairy, when they cut the dairy out, the results are immediate. And within just a couple of days of stopping it, they report feeling better already. Okay, last but not least, reason number 3. The third reason that I see is the overconsumption of raw salads and juicing. And this is definitely part of our quote unquote health culture in America these days. It's seen as something that healthy people do, but I see the opposite side of it in clinic. And what ends up happening with people that consume too much raw salads and juicing is that they're consuming, not only is it literally cold, but energetically the food is also cold. And when you consume too much of it for too long, your metabolic fire is going to drop because of it. So how do we know that we might be one of the people that should lay back on the raw salads and the juices? It goes back to the cold idea. Are you cold frequently? Are you sensitive to wind? Do your fingers and toes get cold all the time? Do you have aches, body aches? Do you ever get headaches? All these symptoms indicate that there's a lack of fire in the body, a lack of life force, which means cold. So all these ideas, if you've paid attention, are actually very similar. What ends up happening is that we're taking away our own life force by maybe putting something in that's difficult for our body to process, like dairy, or we're putting in cold things that literally takes our own life force to heat back up, or we're putting in things like salads and juices where they're physically cold, so we have to heat them back up as well, but they're also energetically cold. And when I say energetic, I mean after the food has been processed, broken down, and distributed into our system, it's going to have an overall effect on our system. And some foods will warm us up, they'll increase circulation, they'll increase blood flow. But some foods, raw salads is one of them, they will actually lower our temperature. They will lower our body's ability to stay warm. And if you consume this day in and day out for a long period of time, even though you might feel energetic and you might feel a certain way, if you're suffering from these symptoms of coldness and sensitivity to cold, that means there's something going on in your system that's not right. There's not enough life force getting to the periphery. There's not enough life force getting into the muscle and the skin layer. So now that we kind of understand one of the main reasons that we're causing the bloating, what are some of the ways that we can combat the bloating? So if the problem is deficiency cold, then the solution would obviously be to warm the system back up. And one of my favorite remedies for warming the digestive system up is a very simple drink. You just take fresh ginger and you take a little red sugar and you make a tea out of it. And this combination is actually very warming and very therapeutic for people that tend to suffer from bloating. For people that consume too much dairy, I would say there's not a great substitute. You just got to do your best to cut it out. Yeah, I'm sorry. But for people that consume the raw salads, and obviously you want to get your vegetables in, that's very important. I always recommend that you consume the majority of your food as cooked vegetables. For the record, I have no problem with fresh fruits. I think they're excellent. I think they're actually very good for the body. But I do think that raw salads sometimes it takes a little too much out of our body to process the roughage itself. Um, so yeah, I would recommend at least cooking your vegetables somewhat to help the body break it down easier. So thank you for staying to the end of the video. I hope I explained some of these concepts relatively clearly. If you have any questions or comments or critiques or disagreements, I would encourage you to leave a message. Let me know how I might be able to improve some things. Other than that, I will see you guys next time.